What up, what up, Gringo Gang, man. I told y'all I was back, man, and I'm not playing with you, man. We gotta get active in this mug, man. So, today, I want to bring y'all a reaction to a video of Wiz Khalifa. Now, he was on the Jay Shetty podcast, the On Purpose podcast, and they started discussing masculinity, which has been a very heavy topic going on around the internet lately about what masculinity is, and people talking about men having emotional intelligence and not being toxically masculine and things like that. So Wiz Khalifa has something to say about it when Mr. Jay Shetty asked him, and I thought it was very interesting, so I wanted to share it with you guys, what Wiz Khalifa's point of view was on it. And I definitely was feeling a lot of things he said, and I think it's very important to spread this sentiment, this message, because I think a lot of people got the game confused. I think a lot of people got it mixed up about what true masculinity actually is. And of course, it's coming from a hip-hop artist, so you know I had to share it, you know I had to get on it, react to it. So let's see what they had to say, man.
Broad spectrum, it's not just one way.
Right.
And so have you ever thought about that, raising a son for yourself, the message you put out? I feel like rap and hip-hop had a version of masculinity before. That's right. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I've always approached masculinity just off of my vision of it, and the most masculine and people that I respect, and just the situations that I look at as what a man should model themselves as, are usually the most moderate and mild tempered and just chill and kind of observant and just guiding the situation. And any way that you can position yourself to be that type of person, I've always felt like that was the more respectable thing. And we all have feelings and we all have emotions, and that's where training in combat sports, it helps you to put all of that stuff in the right place, because when you get a chance to get that stuff out, you realize where it has a place at, where it doesn't. And a lot of people, they don't.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with what he said, because a lot of people think being masculine is showing toughness, bravado, super strength, I'll fuck you up type of energy, when all of that isn't really necessary. You know what I mean? If you can stay cool, calm, and collected, and learn how to think your way through situations, you can keep yourself from getting involved in a lot of unnecessary drama, a lot of unnecessary conflict, and you can usually resolve things in a more peaceful way that can keep you from being in jail, dying, from harming yourself, harming others. You know what I mean? And life usually plays out for you a lot better when you can keep that mindset, and you can handle things calmly, and you can think more than reacting with your emotions. You usually have the upper hand in life, because you're gonna find yourself in way less trouble and way less destructive situations. And I'm really glad that Wiz understands that, and I think there's a lot of young men out here who need to understand that, because most people think that beating on their chest and trying to prove that they King Kong, they think that that's the true way to express that you're more of a man, when really all you're doing is showing how emotional you really are. So this is one of the main reasons I wanted to review this and get my 2 cents on it, because somebody needed to say it. And I'm so glad, Wiz Khalifa had the opportunity to speak on this. So let's keep going.
Have a place to get that stuff out, so they think that they're being masculine by like shouting or yelling or being rude to somebody, but really that should be like the last case scenario. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why.
Absolutely, that should be the last case scenario. You should be able to have 2 or 3 more calm, reserved steps to avoid conflict with people before you immediately go straight into physicality, and yelling and screaming and confrontation and wanting to fight and wanting to shoot. Like, you should be able to talk through your problems, to talk yourself off a ledge, to talk other people off a ledge, to come to a mutual conclusion without everything having to be a straight out war all the time. It's very important, especially for us African Americans who have very high testosterone and very high emotions, and we just get carried away too soon. I've been around a lot of people like that, and I just wish they saw it this way. So that's why I want to push this message.
I say protecting your child, because I would never use what I know to hurt anybody unless it was to protect my family or myself.
And I agree with that. I think that you should use force and that anger and that brute power for protection of yourself and for your family. But not every conflict, not every scenario demands that type of energy. There's a lot of situations that you can get out of by just walking the other way, by just talking it out, by just ignoring people rather than going 0 to 100 in every situation. And in my opinion, the way I see it, I believe that it's best to reserve that type of energy for those situations. I don't want to expend all of that fury and strength and emotion for minor conflicts and disagreements, and then when I run into a life or death situation, I only have half of that energy left. I only have a percentage of that energy left because I've been giving it all away to little small occurrences that didn't even require that energy. So I think that's one of the negatives of thinking like that, reacting like that to every situation. I think that it takes away from that savage energy reserve that a man is supposed to keep for when he's in a life or death situation. You're just giving it out to any situation that you run into. I think that you're doing yourself a disservice.
It wouldn't be in any other situation, because to me, like, that's not cool, that's not tough, that's not even what it's for. So I think the idea of masculinity, it just comes from whoever is putting it out at the moment.
And absolutely, when we discuss what we think real masculinity is, whether it comes from a female, a male, whatever, a kid, an adult, whatever, we all come from different walks of life, different upbringings and things like that. We all have our own definition of masculinity, so it's definitely up to you what your definition of it is. But if I was to give a tip that everyone can use, no matter how you express your masculinity, I do believe that you don't have to be the tough guy all the time. You don't have to beat your chest and pop shit and talk all this rah-rah for people to believe you. All you got to do is be about that action if it's necessary. You don't have to scream to the top of the hills and post a billboard across your forehead and your chest to let everybody know that you are willing to defend yourself, or you're willing to not be played with. All you really have to do is have the knowledge and the ability to defend yourself, whether mentally or physically, when the situation comes about. all of the rest of the all of the rest of the peacocking that goes on is really unnecessary. It really kind of shows weakness. It seems like, in my opinion, that's people's way of trying to scare off a threat with all this extra bravado and toughness, hoping that, you know, displaying all of that negative energy will scare off the threat. That's kind of how I interpret that to be, because anybody who really is down to handle whatever, down to take it however far it needs to go, most G's move in silence. You know what I'm saying? Most of them not gonna show you their cards, show you their hands. They're just gonna wait till they activate it, and then you gotta find out then. So I tend to be one of those people where I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. We're not gonna do screaming matches and things like that. If it goes that far, then you'll see what I'm capable of. Other than that, it's just empty threats, blowing smoke, if we're not actually gonna be about the action and take it that far.
More that you can position yourself in life to have an understanding of your own emotions and be in control of your reactions to things, I think that just makes you more looked at as what people would consider masculine, or a leader, or a provider, or something like that, rather than like an emotional, person.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what it boils down to, and Wiz said it perfect. That's why I had to bring y'all this video. You have to control your emotions, man. You can't let everything rile you up, because honestly, that type of reaction where everything gets to you, everything bothers you, you feel like everything deserves a response, that's really feminine. That's really what women do. We're supposed to be a little more tolerant and patient and understanding of how things can play out in the future, and what certain actions that we do, the effects that they can have on us in the long run. We're supposed to understand that. That's why we're the natural leaders, and that's why we guide, and we're supposed to have the wisdom, because we're supposed to have the power to control our emotions so that we can make the wisest moves in every scenario. So man, definitely shout out to Wiz Khalifa for those gems he dropped, for that $1 million worth of game he just dropped on y'all. I had to bring y'all that, had to share that with y'all, and y'all let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys agree with Wiz? Do you agree with me? Do you think that showing your toughness and yelling and screaming is the best way to be masculine? Do you believe that it's necessary to show people that you're not to be played with, that you have to do that? What you guys think? Do you think that this masculinity conversation is even worth having at all? I definitely do, because it's a lot of misguided young people out here who didn't have male figures in their lives coming up, and really don't know how to control their emotions and their thoughts and things like that. So I think it's important to spread awareness on things like this. But Gringo Gang has been another one. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe once again. And man, I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. You feel me? You dig? We out. Yes sir. Ski.